Can yoga and meditation repair relationships? Most definitely, yes, but not in the way you think that you do this posture or you do this mantra or you do this breath work that is going to fix it directly, but it is the cause to repairing the main problem and helping you to address the issues. And as you know, human relationships are not that simple. You can go for thousands of therapies and it cannot be fixed. But I'll describe how it can be done. And it's a very definite and simple pathway. And you just have to know the perspective. Okay. So I'll discuss that in this video. So I'd like to ask you a great favor. For those of you that like the contents of my videos and the discussions, please don't forget to also like and subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. This will greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people. As you can see from my content creation in the last 2 months, I'm on a mission for domination. And I think I've exceeded 350 videos in the last 2 months. So this is amazing. And not all 2-minute videos and repeats. I putting my genuine experience and so forth into it. So this will greatly help me, reach out to more people because my mission is to educate people on simple things to improve lives dramatically. I've taken very complicated, philosophies from the ancient science, simplified it, and made it accessible to people that they can, improve their lives dramatically. That's what I believe. Small things can make a big change. And an extra favor, it's optional extra. If you can just drop a comment and share it with just one other person in your life or your social media channel, I would very highly appreciate that. But bottom line is, thank you very much just for spending your time with me. Okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Osman. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and um, uh, spiritual ailments. Amazing offer right now is a 10-minute anxiety fix for just $5, less than the price of a Starbucks, delivered to you instantly, telepathically, globally, wherever you are, and pay only if you're satisfied. And that goes to all my treatments, right? Only pay after you're satisfied. So for contact information, visit my website, yogawellness786.com. So I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, practicing this art form for almost 50 years and teaching for 44 years. But in that time, I studied under various amazing masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures across the globe, right? From the Far East, the East, the Middle East, and the West, including the sciences, right? The scientific community. And my main mission was trying to find the best of all the worlds and creating my own unique protocols that are faster, quicker, easier, better, and more time efficient and results oriented, and basically adapted to the 21st century. And to that end, now have students in over 100 countries. And my favorite protocol is my 5-minute yoga and meditation protocol, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, in exchange for subscribing to my blog and where you can get more information about my services. So also remember, my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. So I was thinking of this situation, because firstly, the statistic that I heard is very alarming that 60% of the world is not in any relationship. They are single and not expected to get married, right? So obviously, there's a problem, with building relationships. Is there a problem biologically? No, everyone has got a natural body, and you got multiple choices as well. I mean, depending, LGBTQ, whatever your choice is, you know, you can find, someone in your interest, in your field, because we also have the internet and the social media and so many, online methodologies. It's like almost impossible not to find someone that you can have some basic agreements, major agreements on, and build a relationship from there, right? So what's actually the problem? And also people that are in relationships, it's like they're not very happy in it, and relationships are breaking. Divorce rate is just increasing exponentially, right? So these are indicators that there are problems in relationships. So how can yoga and meditation help, right, the situation? So one needs to know what are the fundamentals of an amazing relationship, number one, and what are the fundamentals of repairing a relationship, right? Rekindling that love that was there originally. Because when there's a relationship goes to a toxic level, that means there is a relationship, and there was a time that you got together and things was very amazing, but things went apart. So let's try to analyze it in a more simplistic manner. I'm not a psychologist or a psychotherapist or anything, and I listen to some of my videos, and I come across as someone, like an expert advising on relationships or lifestyle and so forth. I'm no way in that. It's just that I come from a yoga and meditation background, and I try to, discuss my own feelings regarding important relationship matters and lifestyle matters, and bring it back to, there will be some link or discussion, sometime mildly, sometime directly, on yoga, meditation, or spirituality, which is my pivot point, right? So in sometimes I listened to a video yesterday that I created, and there's like a very minimal, discussion on yoga and meditation. But I do make a point there that yes, yoga and meditation can assist. Because I don't want to go into the whole details, because so many videos are discussing, different details of the yoga and meditation, styles, strategies, and so forth, and that you can access on your own. You can just go through my videos, and there's plenty to choose from, and usually you can find something that can assist you there. So um, so this is not going to discuss mechanics of yoga and meditation, and the actual processes in yoga meditation. I'm just going to say how it's going to help you, and looking at some of the elements that I feel, in my opinion, needs to be addressed in order to fix it. So what is my experience in relationships? So I've had before marriage, many relationships, right? Because I wanted to be sure, when I get married, that I'm not going to be unfaithful. I just want to exhaust myself into playing the field, because everyone, they get into a relationship and then they want to continue to play the field, right? What is that? Don't get into a serious relationship if that's the case. No, I come to the coming to that point. This sometimes is a very big problem, where either one of the parties are unfaithful, right? Because they feel they want to experience something else with someone else, and they're not sure whether what they are in is what they really want. You are in it. So if you're not sure, get out of it first. Before you go experimenting, right? Fundamental number one, before you go, once you're in a relationship, don't don't go experimenting around, and being unfaithful, unless, of course, it's part of your culture and religion, I mean, or your agreement that you want an open relationship, right? So there's two scenarios. Number one, you make an agreement that we want to have an open relationship. We want the capacity to be able to explore others, right? I mean, that's your choice. That's the people. I don't agree with that choice, but that's who am I to say that, right? That is the choice that's available to you. The second one is maybe it come from your religious perspective. I mean, uh, 1.7 billion people are Muslims, and they're allowed to have more than one wife. and that is a accepted norm, right? You don't have to, seek the permission in most of the cases, depending which sector of Islam you're following in. And some sectors require the permission of the wives, and other sectors don't, depending which sector you are married in. Um, work accordingly. And when something happens, and of course you got a right as a woman or a man, to, when you're not happy in the relationship, uh, to want out, because you're not going to accept unfaithfulness. So this is a very, extreme cases. But the part of being unfaithful, this is a very common thing. People are secretly unfaithful. When we say unfaithful, it doesn't necessarily mean you actually having a physically intimate relationship with someone else, outside your relationship. Sometimes you're building an emotional relationship with someone else that is a bit questionable to your partner, right? Who may not accept that. Unless your partner knows that you've got some close friend that you seek emotional support from, or you confide in, because sometimes you have, a woman can have a male figure, or a man can have a female figure that he needs, he confides in and seeks, emotional support from, and has been in his life, for a long time, or who newly came into his life, and it's something platonic, but it's, maybe not acceptable, to the partner. All these things need to be openly, discussed. But, if you have the right perspective of, you are in a relationship, number one, it is goes without saying, everyone, no need for religion or anything in this picture, right? You need to be faithful to that person while you're in that relationship, right? This is the standard 99% of the time, right? So let's not worry too much of the um, exceptions, because standard. And remain committed. If you feel you want to play the field, excuse yourself from the relationship. You don't have to give a reason. You can break up and go and, enjoy yourself, right? Because sometimes you feel, this is not what you thought it's going to be. Very often, it's people get into a relationship, due to hormonal imbalances. They haven't been in a physical relationship for a long time, and they want to get into a physical relationship out of a need, out of physical need. And once that need is satisfied, suddenly there is like an anticlimax, and you no longer see the person in the same light that you saw them when you was desperate physically, right? And now that you're getting, you're living with a person, you start taking the person for granted, and you're not really appreciating, and not needy of the person like how you was, and caring and so forth. So this is a problem. Means you didn't make the right decision, right? And this happens very often. I see it almost everywhere. It is the root cause of this thing, right? Problem. So also have like a trial period, 3 to 6 month period, before you make a commitment, into the relationship. Allow that exit point. Allow this thing to be extinguished. That it was something physical, and once it's satisfied, the thing that comes after it, the personality and so forth, is not really matching, either one of the party. And you must have that window, a 3 to 6 month window, right? Before, you must not allow a commitment to happen. Say, okay, we want to get into this, let's be faithful during this time and see how it works and try it out. And let's, after 3 to 6 months, right, maximum 6 months, then make a firm commitment or exit point. This is number one. To resolve the fundamental issue, you have to, do that. If that happens, then whatever was the reason you got in, and when you're living, because it's nice from far, but far from nice. When you knew the person before you lived together, or you were, closer together, was different. And then once you started to get closer, you get to understand the real person behind the mask, right? And it's not what you expected, because the person is the individual. He's not going to be according to your imagination. He's going to be his own unique self, right? And then maybe you're not gonna, and there's 80 to 90% chance you're not gonna like what you're gonna see, because expectations and reality is two diverse things, right? So this is problem number one, you know. Problem number two, so this has got nothing to do with, yoga and meditation directly, but as I mentioned in the beginning, it doesn't directly, but indirectly, yes. So if you're someone who's practicing mind, just a simple thing, right? The two simple things that I recommend very, very much is some simple basic physical yoga posture, regime or protocol, right? And a simple mindfulness protocol. Just download my free 5-minute yoga and meditation program. It gives you three basic postures that you can practice in your bed, right? For just in 3 minutes, 30 seconds posture, 30 minutes relaxation. 30 seconds posture, 30 seconds relaxation. Three of those is 3 minutes, and a 2-minute meditation. Start with that and slowly build up on it, with time. Get into that habit. What's going to happen is, and this is scientific, right? That is going to help you balance your mind, is going to help you get a perspective on your stresses, a perspective on what you really want, perspective, a handle on a decision making, capacity. Not a massive handle, but a slight, like 15 to 30%, improvement, both in reducing your stress levels and improving your health markers between 15 and 30%. It may seem very small, but 10 to 15% is a very big difference. Let's take the gravity, right? The Earth's gravitational pull is very strong, right? So it keeps you grounded on Earth. According to Elon Musk, there's different types of gravitational strength for different planets, and planet Earth has got like a very strong gravitational pull, where if it's just 10% more, you will not be able to take off. None of the spaceships and rockets and all will be able to leave the Earth's atmosphere. Just 10% more, right? 10 to 15% more won't be able to. There will be zero possibility of, space travel. And then, if it was 10 to 15% less, right, the gravitation pull, it will be so easy for you to take off. You're not going to have all these massive expenses, creating these massive engines and this fuel, and it's like very expensive just to go into outer space. It'll be very easy. People can find ways privately. You don't have to even hire expensive means to be able to take off the ground, and life will be very different. This is just 10 to 15% different. So don't underestimate what's 10 to 15%. And we're saying 15 to 30%. This is the scientific protocol, right? Of how it can influence, right? So if you are regular, someone who's doing this just 6 to 8 weeks, right, doing 20 minutes of a day of just mindfulness, 6 to 8 weeks, what's 20 minutes sacrifice a day for a major change in the most important aspect of your life as a human that differentiates you from the animals is your mind, your intelligence, your willpower, right? The animals, yes, they have a mind, but a conditioned mind, right? They just do things by instinct. The mind works by instinct. No mind works by choice. I want to have ice cream today. Okay, I will not have ice cream today. I will have it only at the end of the week. And you can choose what you like, and you can choose your music. You can make choices, and you can intellectually, decide what's good for you, what's not good for you. Plan your life, how you want to move ahead, how to be successful. And everyone feels success is like snap of a finger. Yes, there is lucky breaks, but the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? So hard work is there, and get advice, from what you are doing wrong, how you can improve according to your circumstance. Will improve your life, your intellect, right? I covered your intellect, your mind, and your willpower, right? That something is not good for you, and you have to create a willpower to do the things that you dislike in order to create a better future for yourself, right? Even it comes also to with the relationship, but all these three things will improve. These are mind matter stuff that's improved with yoga and meditation side, right? And of course, 5 minutes a day may not be sufficient, but it's a good start, because the first 5 minutes, download this from our website, yogawellness786.com, free 5 minute yoga and meditation program, and see from the first day, practice it, that you're feeling a little bit calmer, a little bit centered, a little bit together. Imagine if you do this every day, a 5 minute, feeling just a little bit, it's going to make a massive improvement over, we're not talking 10 years, 6 to 8 weeks, right? So science normally calculates, they make a cut of 6 to 8 weeks, right? 2 months. We're not even saying 90 days, not even 3 months. 6 weeks also, if 2 months is too long, 1.5 months, right? This thing, and start, observing the little nuance changes that adds up in the long term, right? So this is how, when you are okay in yourself, then you'll have a better handle on um, steering your relationships, and even getting into the main thing is getting into it more responsibly, right? So both don't need to be the same. Just one person has to have some brains, right? It's okay. No, this is not going to work, right? 3 to 6 months, this is not working. Let's cancel, right? And have that agreement up front, right? If the person don't agree, you can't just jump into the dark blue, into the deep ocean, and don't know how to swim, right? You're going to get, and even if you know how to swim, you're going to a massive ocean, maybe it's a stormy sea. How are you going to fight the stormy sea, right? You cannot fight the ocean, right? This is what the life is. There's all kinds of personalities and so forth. So you can, opt out of it. The second thing is, um, when you're in it and you made the commitment, and then a lot of people, they spend 2 years, 5 years building a relationship, and then they get married, and they're even living together before that, right? Many people are doing the responsible things, and they're testing it correctly, and they're getting into it, and then as time progresses, they start going apart. So you need to, find a way how to fix the relationship. And, I'm going to give a different perspective, right? Of course, number one, you can go for counseling, and this is important, right? How many of you attempt going? Even if you can't afford counseling, there are a lot of relationship counselors in religious organizations. You don't have to be religious. You connect with a pastor or an imam, or, a rabbi, and they've got a lot of relation experience with with dealing with people's relationships. They don't necessarily have a qualification, they have experience, and they can even direct you to the right people. And find someone, you find some resource, or some third party, neutral person, that can come in between and help for you to, discuss everything and come to some type of agreement, where you can build up. Maybe some things that were done and said, and you can't you can't forgive, and maybe the person crossed a certain line. Then, if they cross that line, which is non-negotiable, there's some lines, type of lines that are non-negotiable is physical violence, number one; unfaithfulness, number two; abusing drugs and alcohol, number three, right? These are the three things. Negotiable ones is if the person is unemployed, going through a difficult time, and, all this, you can't drop the person because of that. You have to, instead of, you know like, negatively criticizing or nagging the person, try to support them, and sometimes I met, women that said the husband just lost the passion for life, and he's just sitting at home unemployed, not even making an effort, right? So this is not a major problem. And I met many men, they said the wife is no longer interested, so with passage of time, these are medical issues that can be addressed, because women go through perimenopause and menopause, and this is happening at a younger level in their life, right? And maybe the way you are, approaching and, handling the relationship could be wrong. You need to educate yourself on relationships, and there are books out there, that can educate you. Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, amazing book. and relationship strategies, right, by Dr. Phil McGraw. I don't know that's the title, but he's got a relationship rescue or something, right? Books. These are two amazing books on relationships, right? Amazing, right? At least go through it. Not only if it's going to fix this particular relationship, but maybe for even for your future also, right? Either way, you're never going to lose, right? So, how is yoga meditation? It's going to help you to be attentive. So surprising. People don't have patience for attention. They can't sit and read a book. They can't sit in a YouTube video for more than 2 to 3 minutes, right? It's like 15 to 30 seconds, and they want to shift to the next, and the next, and the next, and next. And this is a large majority of people. And when I come across these type of videos, I can't accept 15 to 30. I want something more intense, that is a bit more detailed, going into the argument, right? Because I'm practicing yoga and meditation for a long time, I want to go into the nuanced aspects, of a channel, of a video, or of information. And the longer it is, the more happy I am, especially if it's delving in one particular subject matter. And I get so excited to watch a 3 hour, listen to a 3 hour podcast. When podcast like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like I get very, I feel disappointed. But when I hear, I mean, today is, and now it's very early in the morning that I'm creating this video, and there's a 3 day free AI summit created by Tony Robbins, and it's like 2 to 3 hours each day, right? And I'm very excited for that. I say, okay, but I feel it's a bit short. If it was like 6 to 8 hours, would have been better for me, right? So why? Because I'm practicing yoga and meditation. So you can be more nuanced and pay more attention for a longer time, not just like try to skip. So this is how you can acquire knowledge and improve yourself. You're just going to go blazing through the internet, blazing through, so even my videos are primarily focused for YouTube. This is a YouTube video, right? And not on TikTok, because I found TikTok is not, I mean, it's a good place to market my business, and I want to create some short videos introducing or maybe promoting my services and my YouTube channel. That I can do, in 15 to 30 seconds, right? Like a promotion or like an ad, because even a 30-second ad is quite long. But 15 seconds, you can be to the point. So that is okay, I can go in, but it's not something that I wanted, and the reason I disliked that channel, nothing wrong with the channel, right? But the reason that I personally dislike is the videos are too short, not in depth, right? Not like YouTube. YouTube is more like I can go into more in depth subjects, more in depth, discussions, and I find a channel and I can find a series of videos on someone who's got a lot of information. Like if you go through my channel now, currently I have over 350 videos, right? And everything has got some content that you would like, and a discussion a little bit more, in detail and not in a hurry, and not prepared in a style that is very like polished. There's no AI behind mine and no written script. And the reason for I mean, I'd like to follow a written script, but I am blind, right? I can't read anything. Then I have to sit and memorize, the points. And I don't want to do things that way. I like to talk freely, like I'm talking to someone. When you go to your friend and do you write a script? And maybe some of you do that, right? But that's not normal, right? Write a script and how many points on it discuss. You just sit and you chat, right? And you bring up the topic. Yes, can yoga and meditation fix relationships? And I start discussing, openly and freely, and talking to you like I'm talking to you as my friend, as when I meet you and face to face. This is how I would talk to you, right? I'm talking the same way, not in a educational way and a logical way and prepared way, and I find that is better as well, right? So coming back to this, you need to be have develop your attention. So the only way that you can develop this is not something going to happen automatically, because let's say mindfulness practice, right? You're just sitting, close your eyes, you're sitting comfortably upright, and you totally relax yourself and just observing your breath, not manipulating, just observing. Okay, now I'm breathing in now. Then your mind jumping and you keep that's the exercise. You keep bringing it back to a singular point in the present. Your breathing is in the present. So you're bringing it to something in the present, and your breath is somewhere, everywhere. When you're walking, any place, your breath is with you. You can focus on it, at any time while you're working. But it's better when you're doing something to keep your mind on that task at hand. So you be mindful of that task, in the present. So your mind is wandering and you're just doing things. You can make mistakes. If you be more mindful, you're going to be better at things. And when you're having a conversation with someone, you pay your attention to that conversation. So I'm paying my attention to my conversation with my camera and visualizing not the camera that I'm speaking. I'm visualizing you as an individual. I'm not visualizing the whole internet community. I'm visualizing that one person who's listening to me, right? And of course, the type of things that I'm discussing is not appealing to 99% of the people because they don't have attention span. Right? That I understand. And this field, yoga and meditation, is for a fraction of a percentage of people, right? I understand that. That's my niche. But the one that is listening, not everyone is, unattended. There are people who are attentive and more evolved, intellectually and mindfully, in terms of they practiced attention. Maybe they've read a lot or studied a lot or were generally mindful in anything that they did, as a habit, or are practitioners of mindfulness, right? So this practice will help you to give attention. And the big thing is maybe you're not paying attention. You're not listening to the things that the person is saying between the lines, because you're so busy in your mind, you can't even hear the lines, let alone between the lines, right? But if you listen attentively, you listen not only to the lines, but you'll also know what's between the lines. What's between the lines, my friend, you can write volumes. There can be just one verse, one line between the alphabets and between the words. You can write volumes, right? You can write from today until kingdom, the day of judgment, or till kingdom come. You will not finish. That's how nuanced life is if you pay attention, and how much more you can appreciate and find the positive sides of things, right? Because you got choices, right? You can decide to go either left or right and choose right, you know to what's going to benefit you, and that's way, when you can look at things in a more nuanced manner, it gives you more capacity to make more choices. Because when you have more choices and more decisions, how you can adapt and find a way, because you are two separate individuals, for crying out loud, right? If you want someone exactly like you, go marry your, reflection in the mirror, or get into a relationship with or get into a AI relationship that will adapt to whatever way, you want the AI to adapt to. That's why AI relationships are so perfect, right? Because they will adapt. It's like a mirror image of you. They adapt to what you want. But a person is an individual, and this adds the richness. You know, like a variety is going to be able to strengthen. There's some strengths that they have that can strengthen your weaknesses, and you can, uh, support each other and strengthen each other's weaknesses, and be supportive for each other. And life going to be so much easier when you do things together than alone, right? So Steve Jobs said, if you want to get things done quickly, if you go fast, then do things alone. But if you want to go far, do things together, right? So you want to, play the long game. You don't want just, today you're happy and then tomorrow you're miserable. You want long term, you want to be happy. Create some, rolling stone gathers no moss. Like keep rolling this relationship, that relationship, that, and in the end you're alone. In the end, try to build up, and you need to make some compromises. And yoga and meditation will help you, where you're going to become more sensible in how in it, or if how you get into it, and while you're in it, once you're in it, you can find unique and um, creative ways to building a new future, right? and getting the right advice and information, as well as assistance, all the support structures are there, right, to build, because the grass is always greener on the other side. You may think, I can do better than this, right? Because you feel the grass is green when you go in that other person that looks so amazing to you, and that personality and so forth. When you live with that person, can be the worst nightmare of your life, right? And I've been in such relationships, and it was like the person looks like a Ferrari without any engine, right? Everything, and not necessarily the looks, but everything is so appealing. And then when you get into it, it's like there's no engine in it, right? It's like a Ferrari without an engine, is what happens, right? So don't just think that you can do. Build on what you have. Something, a bird at hand is worth two in the bush, right? So build this thing because you got into it, right? There was something you saw before getting into it, something that attracted, and we take for granted when someone else agrees to come in. You know how expensive that is, that someone agreed to sacrifice and drop everything and make you part of their life, a very intimate part of their life. They agreed. It is such a major privilege. And I think it's okay. I'm heterosexual. There's 8.4 billion people. 4.2 are approximately female, slightly more, but let's say 4.2. I got choice of 4.2 billion. If I'm not happy, no problem. I got a choice of 4.2 billion, is the way I used to think. That's the most stupid, idiotic way to think. Try to have a relationship with them. You can't. It's like there's a lot of things you can't just easily, but the person agreed and you got together and you're sharing, some moments together. You shared some good times, or the thing that brought you together. You have to move mountains before two people have decided to be together, and appreciate that, you know, and try to work on that, because this is something, a foundation that's not easy to find, right? You may think this is why there's so much of loneliness in the world, because when people come across something and then they just want to throw away something that is so precious because it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect, never ever, right? The more perfect you feel the relationship, the worse going to be the disaster down the line, right? So, using, first be together in yourself. Don't get into a relationship when you are needy, right? You must go into a relationship to give of yourself. That you must be stable, you must be financially stable and emotionally stable. If you're not emotionally or financially, you need to work on these two things first, because you can't go into a relationship, depending on the other person to support you, right? And I don't agree, with that philosophy that a person needs to be supported by the other person, and the person takes advantage of you, actually, because he knows you are financially needy. He gives you, money, gifts, and so forth, and traps you in the relationship and controls you, right? He or she controls you, with that. Be financially stable, number one, and number two, be emotionally stable. So for both financial stability and emotional stability, if you are together in yourself, you can create plans. Either you're employed or your job. If you're unemployed, your job is to look for employment feverishly till you find, employment. Don't try to say I want to go, and start my own business because I can't find a job. You know what? Starting a business, I think suicide is, and someone, I mean, I'm not encouraging suicide, but where you're going into putting yourself through a crushing machine, where you're getting emotionally crushed, is an easier thing to do than to become self-employed, right? Unless this is something in you. I mean, I'm self-employed now 29 years, and it was I tried everything else and I wasn't happy. When I became self employed, I was the happiest person, mainly because I'm a control freak, probably. I want to control everything. And in an employed situation, you have to obey someone else's instructions, right? And maybe I didn't want to, follow other people's rules. I want to make my own rules. And I disagreed with the rules, and I want to be able to control and make the rules myself, and be the big boss, right? So as you're self employed, you're the big boss from day one, right? big boss with no money. And then you have to work so hard to make money, right? And this is a weakness in someone's personality, I believe, because you're getting there, and the sacrifices you make so much to make so much of money, and eventually with so much of effort, when you do make it, you find that that's not what can give you happiness, what you thought will give you happiness. No, the simple things, a smile, hi, helping someone, saying a kind word, especially if it's the person in your life, right? Easy to be kind to strangers, harder to be kind to the people that's in your inner circle that you meet every day. Hardest person is your partner, right? To be, especially kind to. In the beginning, of course, things are rosy, right? But I'm saying after 2 years in the relationship, right? Even after 6 months, right? In most cases. So this is how yoga meditation, is going to help you to be stronger in yourself, have a better self-esteem, and be more centered, more focused. And this is scientific information. Follow scientific protocols. That's going to be simple and not take too much of your time. And get progressively together. How long does yoga meditation work on average to make someone, we can say, this is the timeline that you should look, right? From minimum 6 to 8 weeks to start noticing some small changes. When does it reach the climax? It takes 5 years to reach the climax, right? On average, scientifically, because they've done the scientific experiments on the ability for someone to reach the a zero level of mind, where the mind is so relaxed it becomes like a flat line when you do an EEG, on the brain waves, right? That it's so relaxed there's zero brain waves. The people who are practicing meditation, yoga meditation, or especially mindfulness meditation, and this is what the experiment was done, who's doing it for 5 years or more, very easily go to that flatline state, right? And they found it common, in the majority of the cases. So I found a lot of people who's just practicing simple mindfulness, right? My perfect example is Jeremy Seinfeld. Just Google online. There is the producer of the Seinfeld show, the sitcom Seinfeld show in the US. I don't know if it's still running, but very successful. It used to be the number one sitcom. And he's a long term practitioner of just 20 minutes a day mindfulness. That's all. And after 10 years of practicing it, he found out it would have been better to practice it twice a day. He said, if you only knew that it was going to be better twice a day, you would have been practicing that from the beginning. But I mean, it's never, and then he adopted it twice a day. But you I mean, especially in the beginning, your life is upside down because your mind is upside down, right? Your life is indication of your mind, right? The more calm your everything around you is, it's a reflection. Even you can be unemployed, struggling financially, but your surroundings, everything is very peaceful, calm, because you generally are calm, peaceful in yourself, right? And I mean, I've been through all stages of life. Currently, I'm doing the startup and I'm struggling, to take this business off the ground. And I know it's going to be, a battle, and it's going to be, a 20-year battle, right? Because I'm in a niche that is highly competitive, but also very difficult to become successful in, right? So those there are, they don't earn very well as a yoga teacher. You don't earn very well generally as an energy healer, right? This is the norm in this thing. So of course I'm used to earning extremely well, but I'm playing the long game, and I just want to be able to survive and survive nicely and also be successful because I've got an entrepreneurship background. So about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I made the decision to do this full time. This was my passion all my life from childhood. So now that I've got sufficient experience in business, I said I can make it, successful. And I know it's going to be a battle. And I went into it, but whatever situation I was in, although low income, I was very peaceful and calm, and I was okay. I've created a situation for myself that I'm never going to starve, and I always had a roof over my head, and I'm going to be fine. And I'm doing my daily practices. Importantly, I'm doing my daily practices, right, irrespective, of my financial situation, and that's how I'm growing in strength. So I may not be growing in my bank balance, but I'm growing in terms of the value of my offering. And when I look at the value of my offering, when I started this full-time basis 5 years ago to now, oh my God, it's so amazing what I can offer. And I'm getting even stronger, and I'm working on my energy each and every day, right? Becoming stronger and stronger. And I'm very together and happy. If you're together and happy, you can add more value in relationships, right? Not only in your romantic relationships, in all kinds of relationships. Now I'm very clear. These people, I understand, you can't take a black cat and make it a white cat, and I just categorize them accordingly, and I don't push them away. I just understand how to deal with them, right? And I keep them in my circle, but I put them in concentric circles. The ones that are closer is the people that I can, depend on highly, and that I know syncing with me, right? There's chemistry, with these five people, and I take these five people, I put it in my inner circle, and then I got my a little bit outer circle and outer and outer and outer. Very mindfully, and I'm not stressed out by any person. The worst person, the biggest enemy, keep the furthest circle away, right? Wants to, was very destructive in my life, but I don't push it because we have to live in this planet, right? Bump into each other, find a way how you're going to deal with the situation, right? So, what's helping me to have this harmonious relationships with everyone is by me being together inside my own self first, working on myself first. What is the secret to my togetherness in my inside is, my yoga practices, right? And this helped me a lot, and I'm doing it more intensely, you know, than anyone since my childhood, right? And I started focusing only on one thing, in the beginning, right? And on the physical postures, because that was very interesting and exciting to me. And mindfulness or meditation and breath work was a bit difficult and confusing. And then the second thing that I adopted was in my adult life, in my 30s, that I took it very seriously, is meditation practice. In my teens, 19 to 30, I adopted mantra. Mantra is very easy, incantations, right? As a second step. Third step was meditation. And then from meditation, getting to advanced levels of it because I was ready and mature for it, right? And I didn't abandon my basic practices of physical postures and also exercising, physical exercises, fitness, endurance, and strength training. It should not be neglected because yoga falls under flexibility. You need all three, right? So I had them, incantations, or I put a religion, and of course, from a scientific perspective, those you don't have to believe in any field, but this I'm just giving you a scientific thing, right? They did an epidemiological study. This is the most, because they do it over a long, I think they did it over 50 years and across a wide number of people globally, right? And they found that those that have faith in any religion, right, were 15 to 30% less prone to illnesses, chronic ailments, and stresses and anxiety, and this whole mixture of things. So the quality of life was 15 to 30% better in people just by adopting this one thing, right? So I mean, I'm not telling you to go and do something, but those of you who believe in a religion and not, I believe like over 90% of the people who believe in a religion are not making time to practice it, thinking I got more important things to do. My friend, this is going to bring you 15 to 30% improvement guaranteed, according to epidemiological study in the science field, in your life. What an amazing thing is that. Normal regular churchgoers or people who's regular in the prayer, Muslim or Jew or something, it's like not together. Generally they have some type of foundational strength. So these type of things that you introduce, I'm not saying go and take a religion if you are in it, and just to know that this is going to greatly strengthen who you are inside. And this is the key to financial success and relationship success. And financial success There is certain fields that are more stable than others, and know that anything can happen. You can lose that stability, but you need to be together, and you're going to go through ups and downs in your life. But if you're inside, you're okay. You'll be able to make the choices to be able to resolve your situation and find a way to overcome the situation. Either take advantage of the negative and make it exponentially better, make your future, or make a compromise and accept the lower level, and but be happy, and still have your a well-rounded life. So can yoga meditation help relationships? Well, certainly yes, right? Because these are scientifically backed results and simple practice. Don't have to go into extensive 10-hour a day and all that. Just 20 minutes a day of mindfulness practice minimum, right? Start with 5 minutes a day. Start with 2 minutes a day. Just 2 minutes, because my 5 minute yoga and meditation program has only got a 2 minute protocol, but I added the three postures for 3 minutes because it's a game changer. To adding postures to mindfulness practice is a game changer. I promise you, I'm practicing this art form for about 50 years, teaching for 44 years, right? You can abandon the physical posture. A lot of people don't say, my stomach is too big, I can't, no, do within your ability, and it's going to make a massive change, in your life. So I hope that information helps you. Take care of yourself always.